it's kind of discouraging to think that how frequently something happens that is a new precedent that we just can just forget, you know, almost like it never happened. We started out saying stuff like, remember the Maine, remember the Lusitania, remember this, and then those would be like few and far between, you know. But it seems almost like every other day there's something, and you could just forget it. So it's like kind of discouraging, but at the same time, do you think that it's really just about legal precedent? If it is a capacity for someone to be test the limits of how far you can go beyond it, then we would be looking at something like 9/11, like happening in Maui, because we would say something like, 9/11 was an inside job, and somebody would say, how damn dare they, right? Well, that wasn't immediately obvious to some people. Then they didn't really know back then how to the extent to which uh, omissions and untimely truths are just, like regular. So even if you have been, even if you're only like a few, like, even if you're a teenager, you're only been alive for a few years, like, really don't know anything. I can't charge that you would not understand the nature of manipulation and stuff like that. I can't say you don't have a way to detect whether or not somebody's manipulating, because you can't tell a grown up who is manipulating how they are being manipulating. You see, I just don't give it to you. I just will never give it to you, that and then you're just letting me know that I'm gonna have to do some kind of mental gymnastics, or try to and fuck with the language, or placate you in some extent. And you don't know how long a person will fucking dig into their repertoire, how patient they have to be, or what they're willing to go through in order to bring back, the comforts of cool world, right? So why would you want to test it or find out? It's only about saving your own energy. If you could just simplify it, so the simplest terms make the most sense. The simplest concepts make the most truth, right? It's just that we have a way of providing, like, for a scam, you have to break your rule for one excuse reason that this time is different, and then that's how the nature of a scam can proceed, and it wouldn't be a scam, something. But just because we know that doesn't mean that you have to still be kind of focused and vigilant and looking for the way that deception is going to pivot. You're looking for the pivot, because don't forget, we're trying to either extend the Overton window to everyone or destroy it. And we want to deny from anybody who's trying to exploit it the ability to be able to use the Overton window to affect and achieve the aims of deceptions. Just to be, from an outsider perspective and looking at it, what is consistent for everybody that we can agree? Certain things like assurity is not a bad thing, but it just by that, depending on being reassured constantly is manipulating, or it's like, I'll try to get you to keep repeating yourself. I'll try to get you to repeat yourself in many ways, or and it's really getting you to say what you know what I'm saying, leading up to the next thing, which isn't in a sense I'm accessing what I think you already believe, you know. And there's no really positive, constructive aim for it because I haven't really thought it through. Like, you're just going to get emotional until you figure out how to catch the anger before it rises, you know. But in the meanwhile, though, they can collide worlds together and collect spoils or something. Maybe there's something make you drop something or something, you know, because if you're not paying attention, you always lose something or you always forget something when you're repeating yourself and getting upset at someone. Is that something you think you could tell that person that just please stop? Like, it'd be nice, like, if you didn't do this, like, because what's the end game? What is the goal? That was the whole point, right? So you would think logically, like, well, we didn't save energy, we didn't create value, we didn't do anything. We maybe even be toxic to people around. When you come, like, certain people aren't toxic by themselves, but when they get around this person, those two people together, then that could be really toxic to other people. Even that the cause of all of these wars and contention and inciting contentious bickering and everything is arrogant matchmakers at the seat of power, because whenever they arrange marriages, it's so that somebody can be allowed or afforded not to have to incriminate themselves, right? When they swear, you know, if they ever go on the stand, they don't have to incriminate themselves because there's a spousal, like, you know, it's like a spouse thing. Your spouse can be, like, the court's not supposed to come by their verdict on manipulation. So you can manipulate somebody by their spouse or something like that. The lawyers wouldn't be able to establish what they need to establish by going at them that way. And then everybody frowns on it, you know, so they don't do it. If you don't know that, then you wouldn't be able to effectively wield that, because you have to acknowledge there's some valuable information. It might not be this form, the way I'm giving it to you, but there is such as a thing as valuable information. So I'm not, just because I'm saying that means that this is valuable information, you know, just because I'm right. Just because I know I'm right, that doesn't mean that by telling you right now that there's a such thing. Because what I could also be doing is like downplaying your cognition. What if that's my aim? What if the first things I have to do is go in and discredit your cognition and your ability to assess and critical thinking? So then now you need a coach, life coach, spiritual, financial advisor. You need like all this kind of shit. And you know what I'm saying? This is like why don't you relate it to like scopolamine type of thing? Like a way to access parts of the brain and bypass other parts of the brain. mRNA, right? Choosing the limbic node, right? Just like Viagra, to crank up the libido, you know, or boosting the immune system. You don't really build out a perimeter immune system. You're just cranking it up temporarily to get a result that you can document as this is like bending the curve. This is like, what they said, that flattening the curve. They even have a word for it. They even have what they want to achieve in dialectic sense, telling you what to go for. This is ideal. Is that ideal? Only if you're a hand beast, if you're a wicked, nasty hand beast, you know. But I'm already who I am. Though. Like, you don't just cancel out because they went over with a dialectic and shit. Now there's a science reason or science laws. Why why you can't be free, you know what I mean? Like, they come up with a science law why you can't be free. You have to, when you see someone without a mask, you have to encourage them to put a shield between you and 85% of expression. So it's like expression is off the table now. We had no choice. Come on, man. It's just a wicked hand beast dialectical fucking attack on fucking assimilating fucking cloning attack about some technology, whether or not you can perceive the technology exists or not, then my opinion of you is supposed to fucking matter. It's just like you can't tell somebody that knows you're lying that they're wrong, because fuck you, you're lying. You don't tell me I'm wrong, you know. And so that's where it comes down to, like, oh well, nobody likes you or something, and then so I'm not regressing, you're regressing, because it's not an argument. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's subjective. And there's going to be a time when you might want to or need to argue subjectively. So why are you arguing subjectively in place of objectively? It's not manipulation. Oh, no, no, no. I'm never going to tell you that's manipulation. So then at some point, then it's going to pose to me whether or not I want to. Because there's like no really self-reliance. It's like, how is it how is you can afford self-reliance? You can live in Maui and they can just come up with a reason why your land is no longer productivity, so they can foreclose. And right now, acting like they're so nice and everything, they would love to extend all sorts of credit and just tell people to do whatever we can to keep and fucking stealing your car keys and helping you look for it. Like 9/11 fucking was an inside job, and how long? They're not gonna get away with that shit. Everything else, but not that. I mean, can you really see them getting away with that shit? In light of, like the dancing Israelis, do you really think that they got one over? It's gonna be in a history book. They're stupid. They're just fucking dumb. Type of motherfucking idiot that fucking needs burnt up, charred up children on their resume and think not talking about it's gonna be a good look, it's gonna help you. No, like that's a wash, and nobody want to see your fucking burnt face. I'm not talking about the kids, I'm talking about the burnt face, meaning like you have no credibility. No, ether, so the ether will come palpable, and it'll step to, just like Epstein, all those people that are fucking sitting back eating their fucking chocolate ice cream from Buy-Right or wherever they can afford to get fucking buy shit with kids in it and fucking eat it. So maybe they don't eat kids, but they're not gonna get away with it. And that's so stupid. That's stupid. They have a spokesperson of a civil rights all-star that, in other words, is just telling you, the child must die. Kill the child. And I just fucking decode it and translate the intention and the dialectics and the lower magic stuff. Just the basic simple shit. That's the reason why you gotta defeat cognition, because before something happens to them for burning those children, I think you did, you know what I mean? You did it. They have to make you feel like it was your, remember Budweiser? I mean, the only reason it's a subject is, the only reason it's a story is because they keep trying to blame the customers. The only reason they're not back together is because they keep trying to blame the customers. Everything else is gone in the store. So the stores are not replacing their other items. They're just leaving the alcoholics to choose between Budweiser and Bud Light. And There's no really choice. It's like you have to buy Bud Light now. There's nothing else. Everybody bought it. Isn't it weird? Like, your streets are blocked off and they only go one direction. Streets don't go this way, they only go that way now. Waiting for COVID to come back. And if I see any hammering on building a fucking outdoor, then I'm gonna want to irritate the business, the business person. They didn't do anything wrong. I just don't want to see them hammering, making any outdoor fucking things tell people to go inside and eat. You know, fuck. Well, that's the way the COVID's gonna come back. So then you're stuck. They're stuck like this. I think that was socially engineered. I think the humans got together, like people that work for an Acorn Bank or somebody like that. Got together, and over every day you can overlook another precedent for increasing or decreasing the percentage of a coincidence, the possibility of coincidence, until it's just ominous and fucking ready to undercut your whole sensibilities. Then you can just go and never fulfill you won't be who you are. You won't be the person that you are anymore. They're cloning. When you get to a certain point that you have to talk to one parent about something that pertains to the child and not the other parent, you're a fucking wicked handbeast. You're fucking totally Skittles. You're that's to the curb, and you're pretty much unfulfilled as a human. You're over. It's done. Roll you into another dimension. You just don't ever actualize. You can fucking walk around here as a fucking half a shell of a human. Like, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen those people walking around there just like a shell. They're also nice and mindfulness. That's the thing. They refer to people as allies, not an asset. And they refer to assets, they refer to utilities as assets, because the people that are, their handlers are getting them to say that. Because they want to be able to tax more assets. They don't even want the municipality to even have its maintenance people to be able to show up, prepared and ready to work, fucking all of your instruments and everything. It should have to be broken because they just decide that you're poor people. All the shit for poor people has to be broken. How do you get to be poor if all of your institutions aren't broken? How are you not poor? How are you poor if they're not broken? How are you gonna get there? So they're just helping you over there, in a way of thinking about limbo, jeopardy, and complacency. Like they like a scenario for the precedent of, and it's a different precedent than you like a precedent for whatever seems like legalese is talking about. The precedent for jeopardy and limbo and leaving your information out on Front Street, which is why like certain rappers or something like talking about airing out certain sundries and not even attaining like a good look for it, but it still gets clout and they still do have a reason to do it. Or bloggers too, like, so if you get to know somebody on a personal level, then what you put out there in the public kind of shit. So what would happen with people's careers and shit like that. It's also similar to something that's going on within the judicial wing of government. Or no, everything's legislative. Legislative, executive, judicial, it's all kind of the same shit. It's just a different career, but it's the same shit. It's like a science. Because they're trying to provide something that is not possible to provide to somebody considering that you're self-governed. How do I provide government to self-governed people? You can't.